husband and I have recently renovated our house that we bought about 6-7 months ago, and we really needed a set of bookcases to put on either side of our fireplace, which you can see behind me, to put up some decoration pieces, and just pull the whole thing together. Alright, so my husband and I went out to Home Depot and we bought all the lumber, bought some plywood, and had Home Depot cut it down into smaller pieces so that we could transport it back home. Got some, what are those, 1x2s, 2x3s, is that it? That might be it. So it's gonna be one of those kind of angled ladder shelves. I'll post a picture of that. We had seen this bookshelf at Crate & Barrel when we bought our couch there. The ready-made version wouldn't have fit our space, so we decided to buy the lumberette and customize it to the size we needed. Those have been cut down and sanded. These have kind of been cut. They have an angle at the bottom, but we haven't yet figured out where to cut off the top yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand that while my husband is out meeting someone for dinner. Okay, so we have all the sanded pieces here that I worked on last night and today. So what you see there is the back leg that will be standing upright. And then this in front right there is the front slanted legs. Once the husband comes home tonight, we'll figure out exactly where to cut this piece, cut it off, and then figure out how deep to make the shelves based on this approximate angle that we have decided on. All right, husband's home, so we're figuring out where to cut this.
So when I measured this, I calculated it should be 1 inch from the bottom. So I'm just gonna measure, let's see, measure up 1 inch and place that there. And basically what we're doing is, rather than doing trigonometry to figure out, which I'm not very good at, rather than using trigonometry to figure out where to cut this, I'm just gonna lay it out on the floor, just like it's gonna be in real life, and then I can just take, that was loud, take the speed square and mark the top where we need to cut it. And then I'll just cut it slightly big, and then we can trim it down to exactly where it needs to be. So hopefully that ends up working out pretty well. So anyways, putting the boards right where they ought to be.
Oops, sorry, I kicked it.
So it's all a little imprecise, but I'm hoping that it's precise enough that it works out once we put it all together.
Time to cut.
Time to cut. All right, so we're gonna cut this at 8 degrees, which is what the bottom was cut at. Cut it a little big and then trim it up to make sure it fits once we put it all together. So here we go.
Right, moment of truth.
Alright, so I mean, it looks pretty good. The top is, top's pretty accurate, pretty smooth.
Okay.
It lines up on both sides pretty well, and then at the bottom, you can see it looks pretty flush, both here and here. I just used this 5/4 by 4 cedar block to elevate the bottom cross support 1 inch, which is what I planned on, and it fits pretty well. So I think it looks good enough to screw together.
Yay! Finally. Hey.
We started assembly by using the speed square and the shelf, as you can kind of see here in the time lapse. The 1x2 braces were screwed into the 2x3 legs using pocket hole screws. Then we flipped it over, marked the other leg, and screwed everything in the same way.
Alright, first one is kind of assembled. Yay!
Yeah.
We just need to nail the shelves down and then we'll stain and put a couple coats of poly.
Like an hour and a half of sanding all in on this bad boy.
Oh my gosh.
I think we've got
so
like
much sanding.
40 pocket hole screws for these supports, I believe. We got, yeah, it's 8 screws per shelf, so this should be pretty
let me
thick.
go around. Ta-da! Pocket hole, pocket holes. We did it wrong on the bottom one, but it doesn't matter because it's so low that no one's gonna see it from the front.
It's almost purposeful,
Almost.
but not quite.
Anyways, it's almost midnight, so we need to go to bed. Good night.
We realized that the shelves fit really snugly, so we opted to use wood glue and clamp down the shelves instead of nailing them in. And for the fun part, the staining begins.
Alright, here it is, all stained. Once this dries, we'll do probably 2 coats of polyurethane tomorrow. And then let it cure for a couple days and it should be good to go.
This is the first coat of poly. And a couple hours later, this is the second coat of poly.
Alright, so here they are behind us. We have some notes about what to talk about, so you'll see us looking down just a couple times. But anyways, we love how they turned out. We love the contrast with the light gray walls and the white fireplace. The stain on the shelves is Verithane's Early American. The finish is from the same brand. It's the polyurethane with the satin finish. We did about 2 coats. Well, not about, but we did 2 coats. 3 is better, but I was just a little bit impatient to get them inside the house. Polyurethane usually takes between 3 to 7 days to dry and cure, depending on the temperature and the humidity.
So ours dried pretty well, and it was in the upper 50s. Probably took maybe 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, I mean, it felt dry to touch before that, but...
Yeah. Alright, so moving on, the total cost of the lumber is $250. 20 hours to assemble and do all the finish work for both bookshelves. So 20 hours total for 2 bookshelves. And the front piece is cut at 8 degrees, so if you like the angle of these bookshelves, 8 degrees is what you want. Finally, there were 4 tools that were particularly helpful. The miter saw for getting the angle cuts just right, a table saw for ripping the plywood, a Craig jig for doing all the pocket holes, and a speed square, which was particularly helpful in assembly to make sure things were squared up. So the materials you'll need to build these are 1 sheet of 4x8 birch plywood. That'll be for 2 bookshelves. You also need 1x2s to support each shelf, and then you need 2x3s for the like the main support pieces. So birch plywood, 1x2s, 2x3s.
Alright, so that's pretty much it. Our blog post will have all the details. It'll list the equipment, the materials, and just
more information about how we put it together. So thanks for watching!